and welcome to Sports Uncorked. I'm your host, Rachel McCarter. Thank you so much for being here with us today. We have a great show lined up. We're going to talk all things NCAA tournament and conference championships because it is the most wonderful time of the year. I, as you can tell, am not at home in my podcast studio. I'm actually on the road today, flew out to Los Angeles for a couple of days of work, but kind of weird. It's cold and rainy here. So I left warm and sunny Colorado to fly out to cold and rainy California. Can't say that happens often, but I'm happy I can see the Hollywood sign from where I am. I'm headed to LA Fashion Week for a night or so, and I'm just excited for the opportunity to attend that. So be sure to follow us on the socials. I will share pictures. I have some really high stiletto shoes, which I don't walk in on the daily. So hoping that I don't break my ankles. We'll show you my hot pink dress. It's going to be, I think it'll be super, super fun. So since I'm not uncorking a new wine, I am going to be drinking the wine that was courtesy of Southwest Airlines on my flight out today. I had a 9:45 flight out of Denver, and a drink ticket was part of my ticket. Didn't obviously want that to go to waste, so I asked if I could have, a bottle of champagne. They brought it to me, kept the lid on, and then the flight attendant subsequently gave me 2 more. So I showed up today to my hotel with 3 of these little mini bottles. I will be enjoying 1, maybe 2 of those on the podcast today. So thank you, Southwest, for providing the alcohol for today's episode. So since I'm not uncorking a new bottle of wine, I did want to take an opportunity to share some news that came out of the sports world from ESPN this week. And that is that they are retiring a show called Around the Horn that has been on the air for 23 years. The last episode will be on May 23rd, which is, May 23rd, 23 years. They've had over 5,000 episodes. But I share this because it really, it's a sad thing for me. This has been a pretty pivotal show to kind of help spur my interest of sports. When I was in high school and college, I would come home after class, I would sit down on the couch and listen to the sports reporters across the country who were participating that day give kind of a rundown and give facts and points as part of that show. So the premise of it is that there was a host, his name's Adam Reale. He was the host and moderator of the show, and then there would be 4 sports reporters from throughout the country that would be part of and participating in the show. They would receive points for good points made. They would receive decrements for points that they made that maybe like Tony, who was moderating this, didn't agree with. And at the end, you had the top 2 that go head to head, and one of those is named the winner of the day. So I don't know, it really kind of opened my eyes to quick hits on sports topics. I remember learning a ton of the facts about, a variety of things that really stuck with me. And it really spurred my interest in sports reporting, which is, I think, a pivotal reason why I've had this driving desire to host a podcast and get out there and be involved in the world of sports. So from that perspective, kind of a sad day. We have a little over 2 months until the final show. So if you haven't had an opportunity to watch it, I've just try to tune in. It's really been a staple for the network for a long time, but understanding that audiences change. The demographic that grew up with that is now working during those hours and trying to bring, something new to that midday time slot. So anyhow, cheers to Around the Horn. Thank you for all that you've done for me. Look forward to watching the next couple of months, and just check it out. So we do have a really fun episode today. Marissa is back. Lou is back. We have kind of a star-studded cast, and those 2 joining us. And we're going to talk all things college basketball. So I'm going to bring Marissa in, and we will go ahead and get started.
All right. Hey, Riss.
Hey, Rach, how's it going?
Oh my gosh, it's been so long.
I know. It's like reunited and it feels
so good. So I got a spray tan. You can probably tell. Like I'm a little, looks like I got a little sun. I got my, like, I looked in the mirror this morning and I was like, holy shit, I look like Ross Geller from Friends. Like my teeth
Yeah,
are like glowing.
I'm done. That's hilarious.
So I'm kind of getting back in the summer spirit. I think I went maybe a little too dark, but I'm wearing hot pink dress tonight and something pink tomorrow. I'm like, I don't need to look like a vampire. So
There you go.
give me a little color.
Yeah, I like it.
Oh, thanks. Thank you.
Yeah, looks good.
So we're back to like what I think is one of the most wonderful times of the year, the start of the NCAA tournament, conference championships. I
Yeah.
think it's been even more fun for us specifically over the last couple of years because we've
Oh,
had
sure.
this rise and dominance of the SEC from a basketball perspective.
Oh, yeah,
It's
for
been
sure.
it like I think we always like watched the tournament before. We kind of cared about it. We filled out a bracket, but
Yeah.
Selection Sunday wasn't anything that we were like, "Oh my gosh, we have to see like can we get in?" It was always like maybe we get in on the bubble. If we get in,
Oh,
like maybe it'll be a bubble thing, but like
I think
this,
that the NCAA tournament is probably the one time of the year where we're like, you know what? We're not SEC fans. We know what our strengths and our weaknesses are, and we're a football school, and we're okay with that.
yeah.
So I'm gonna go ahead and like look over at my East Coast conferences and like the ACC and the Big Ten, and I'm like, all right, this is where these are my people now.
Yep, it's your time to shine, right?
Exactly. It's like the one time a year I get to wear my Duke and my UNC t-shirts.
Or we're all of a sudden Kentucky fans,
Or all of
right?
a sudden Kentucky fans
We're
behind
like all
in
in
the
on
family.
Kentucky.
Yeah. But even
So
during basketball season, it like hurts me to root for Auburn and Florida, even though they're so good at basketball.
they are. They are. I mean, I think the SEC this year is just so stacked from top to bottom.
Mm-hmm.
They're saying like, Joe Lenardi, who is like the basketball god this time of year, is like 13 teams. 13 of 16 SEC teams are going to make it into the tournament. Like, what?
So crazy.
That's crazy, right?
Where did all this talent come from all of a sudden? I mean, we thought it was like such a Cinderella story that Bama made it all the way to the Final Four, and now all of a sudden it's like, well, there's tons of company in the conference that are in the Chiefs, even in the top 25. Like, it's insane. It's kind of unheard of. Because I always feel like around this time of the year is when we hear about, I don't want to say obscure, but like there are conferences outside of the ACC and the SEC and the Big Ten, in case you didn't know. And that's where we kind of get our re-education. And we learn about schools like Marquette and Gonzaga, who I always root for. And like, even like these random schools, like, what is it, Bradley and like, it's just insane.
Morehead State, who like cranks out these awesome players every year that end up transferring. I mean, it's
All of
it's
a sudden we
crazy.
learn about all these different University of California branches, like San Diego and Irvine and Santa Barbara. We're like, oh, that is a school.
And like, what a great place to go to school, Santa Barbara. I
Got
didn't
really
know I
cool.
could have gone to school there.
Yeah, for sure.
So I think we have to like take a step back and thank Greg Sankey, who's the SEC commissioner,
Mm-hmm.
for when he came in 2016, the football was like kind of the cash cow, right? So it ran the conference. It's where like a lot of the resources went. It was what the SEC was known for. And when he came in, he said and recognized that we had a true opportunity in the SEC to make college basketball like a formidable conference for
Mm-hmm.
the SEC and a formidable game. So the SEC was actually the worst of all of the conferences in basketball. So
Yeah.
he said, like, what can we do to elevate them? So he brought in an ex-commissioner of the Big East Conference. The Big East like ran college basketball for a number of years. And so he hired this guy to come in and really help him understand the dynamics, how he needed to motivate coaches, how he needed to hire coaches, and when
Mm-hmm.
coaches are looking to go out and draft players and to bring in assistants, what they needed to be looking for. Also,
Mm-hmm.
he needed to help coaches like get off this like pity party that they were on about how these schools are like just focused on basketball. The fans are never going to get behind or they're just behind football. They're never going to get behind basketball. It's like,
Well, I
no,
think
you
like
have,
they miss that they want to get behind winners. Like, no,
right,
no offense, but we were pretty piss poor Bama basketball fans up until the last couple of years, and unfortunately, I think a lot of these schools think that their only chance is to like hire a retired NBA player, which is not necessarily the winning case. I mean, like
right.
look at Penny Hardaway, who's doing amazing things in Memphis, but like Avery Johnson was the coach of the University of Alabama for years and didn't get nearly as close to the tournament as Nate
Yeah.
Oates has done the last couple. So it's interesting to see that evolution, that it's gone beyond player evolution to actually coaching development to make these programs shine. It's interesting.
So yeah, I 100% agree. And it's crazy to think like since 2016, like now, if you look at the coaches in the SEC, 9 of the 16 have actually taken a team to the Elite Eight.
Mm-hmm.
So like the caliber of coaches that we have, the talent that they are able to recruit, because again, once you're in a good conference and your team is good and you're not just wrapped around like maybe one star player, and your team plays as a team and you can keep your talent for more than 1 year, which I think we see some schools that struggle with that,
Mm-hmm.
it's a lot easier to recruit, right? I
Yeah.
mean, you can play the transfer portal, you have NIL as a tool to keep people in school and not going to the NBA. Um, but you also have this ability to build a culture and to build a team. So
Yeah.
I think that's been a lot of the success, and we have to credit, I think, Greg Sankey for kind of turning this around and not accepting that we're going to just put all of our eggs in the basket of football, but we're
Mm-hmm.
going to grow and we're going to understand how to
Yeah.
grow the college basketball experience to be kind of a powerhouse. And
Oh, for
he's
sure.
done it. He's done
I
it.
think as we go further into not only like the basketball season, but as we go into like other sports, I think that you're going to see that the SEC in general is becoming a place that students want to be. I think that it has gone, especially from like an athletic standpoint, where it's like, oh, well, I have to. I don't want to talk badly about some school, but like, I don't want to have to like settle for going to East Lansing State University because they're offering me some kind of athletic scholarship. When I have the chance to go to a school that's got a mild winter, it's got um, a better kind of like quality of life where I'm not freezing to death even during the season, like the part of the year where it's the most supposed to be cold. And it's just like easier like on the student, and now I get like paid on top of that as well. Like why wouldn't you? Like even outside of basketball, we're seeing amazing things happening in baseball, softball, gymnastics. I mean, I've not been like tracking it too closely, but like women's gymnastics in the SEC is like going crazy right now. LSU, the Georgia Gym Dogs, like they're amazing. So I'm really excited to see just like my conference, this is the SEC, like continue to dominate in every sport, but specifically basketball. It's been really fun.
It's made what is a really long season that much more interesting. And
Mm-hmm.
Jay Billis, another color commentator and analyst, he said he has never seen a conference this good and this dominant ever in the history of college basketball. So it's kind
Mm-hmm.
of like we talk about generational talent and generational things occurring. I bring the topic of how strong the SEC is and how we have to credit Greg Sankey, because not just because we're SEC fans, but this really is something special.
Oh yeah.
Um, and the fact that the SEC hasn't won a national title since 2012
Mm-hmm.
in basketball, which was Kentucky back in 2012.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a long drought for a
Yeah.
conference to go. And so with the potential of three number one seeds going into the tournament,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, hopefully this is the year. I know Duke's favored, but I mean, this could be the year that someone from the SEC could actually win a title.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I think, I don't want to discredit Duke because my guy Cooper has just been crushing it. But I feel like it's another we got another baby step, I think. I think we got another baby step before it's like 50-50 in the final four SEC.
Well, and speaking of not being able to keep a player, I mean, it's his first year and he's already said I'm going in the draft. So he's a one and done at Duke.
You got to get out while you can. They got to get out while they can. I mean, it doesn't help. Listen, I've always been a huge fan, and like my friends here in Charlotte and in Atlanta are going to kill me because I have always kind of split the baby on rooting for Duke and rooting for UNC. But Coach K and I almost called him Coach Jim, but
Roy
Coach
Williams?
Roy, yeah,
Yeah.
it's like those were dynasties. So like I think it was worth it for a player to go to a program like Duke, go to a program like UNC and stay there for as long as they can. But unfortunately, with these NIL deals, everyone's playing hot potato with their future because they're just like, oh, well, where can I go? And I think that what's interesting is that we're seeing a lot, I don't want to call it buyer's remorse, but we're seeing a lot of players, maybe even this past year, that have gone into the pros and probably are wishing that they had stayed in college so they could make a little bit more money. And maybe it's, vice versa too. So that is going to be a very interesting play, which is why I'm kind of like a little disappointed in Alabama because they were starting to do, I would say, making similar mistakes to the way the football program did. We're so used to winning stuff all of the time that we started getting lazy. We started making silly, simple mistakes that cost us points at the end of the day. I don't want to say it's the team's fault, but I am going to blame NIL because I think it's clouding their judgment, messing with their minds a little bit.
I think I think it's hard to get motivated to play a ranked team every single week through the
Mm-hmm.
back half of your season schedule. We saw like the last 2 weeks have been an absolute slugfest in the
Mm-hmm.
SEC. We had, I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
just thinking about like all of the ranked on ranked teams, like Bama played Missouri, Florida,
Yeah.
Tennessee, Auburn,
Yep.
and God, they played some, I think maybe Oklahoma in there. So that's like five. That was
Oklahoma.
like five. It was like five teams, four of them ranked in the top 15, like
Yep.
back to back to back to back to back. We had Georgia who beat Florida. Unranked
Mm-hmm.
Georgia beat Florida. Florida then beats Tennessee. No, Florida beat Bama. And then we had
Yep.
Ole Miss that beat Tennessee, and then
Yep.
Tennessee beat Bama on a buzzer beater, and
Yep.
then Auburn lost to Texas A&M, and
Yep.
then Bama beat Auburn in overtime on a buzzer beater last week. Like
Yep.
that's great. That is like NCAA tournament style basketball that's being played in the regular season, which is just
Matt,
like it's been so fun, but like that takes a toll on you, right?
it's hard to have a Cinderella story when everyone is good.
I know. I know. And I think there's two schools of thought when you think of this. Like, would you rather play a schedule like that in the regular season or not? Like, one school of thought is, yeah, because you are battle tested when it comes
Yeah.
to the tournament to go through that. But also, like, you're tired. You're tired that every single game is just like they're mentally and physically you have to
Yeah.
be like on your game and so ready because these teams are playing such hard defense
Mm-hmm.
and such physical basketball on top of it.
Yeah, I agree. Um, yeah,
So I think it'll be
exhausting.
interesting. We saw, I think Bruce Pearl was even saying
Mm-hmm.
this week that would I rather my team go out early in the SEC tournament in order to rest so that we can play stronger and harder in the NCAA tournament? Because last year that's what hurt Auburn, right?
Mm-hmm.
They ended up winning. Did they win the SEC tournament? Or did Bama won the SEC tournament, right? I can't even remember. But
Mm-hmm. Bama won the SEC
they
tournament.
look to say that they went out early, I think, against St. Peter's in the first round last
Mm-hmm.
year because of how physically demanding and hard it was with the SEC tournament because they play all the way through Sunday, which is the selection show,
Right.
happens right after the SEC tournament ends.
Yep.
So there's really not that same rest and turnaround as like all of the other teams get if you play all the
Mhm.
way through the tournament. So
Oh
I
yeah,
do
I'd
think
rather
it's good.
get out sooner than and let everyone else kill each other, and then I can come in fully rested and beat the person that's
Yeah,
been clawing to get back into the finals the whole time. I mean, that's good strategy.
yeah. And I still think if Auburn goes out early in the SEC tournament, they're still going to get a number one seed in the
Yeah.
NCAA tournament. Like, I don't think that that's in jeopardy at all. But we've got
Oh,
Bama,
I got Auburn
Florida.
pretty high.
I think they're going to be, yeah, the number one overall seed. But
Mm-hmm.
I think like Bama, Tennessee, and Florida, whoever makes the best run and maybe whoever wins also gets rewarded with a number one seed. Like, I think right now Florida looks like a pretty good lock, and I think a lot of people
Yeah.
are picking Florida to win the SEC tournament.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know.
I'm not gonna lie. When I was putting together my bracket, at one point I had Auburn going all the way to the Final Four. I had Auburn and Florida going all the way to the Final Four.
Your pretend bracket.
Bracket, yeah. I would never put together a real one. Oh my god.
Well, we don't know who's in yet, right? So I mean, I think there's all the
I'm
yeah.
the person that has one of those digital brackets, and then every
Yeah.
time somebody wins, I refresh it, and then I just keep picking like I would never do like a real bracket. Oh my god, no. I could never.
I think we're gonna try to do you, me, and Lou should do one. A real bracket, like when it comes out and
Okay.
it's finalized. That would be fun, right?
I have no confidence when it comes to NCAA brackets. Like
Nobody
it's
does
so
good.
infuriating.
Nobody gets it right. Like
I
that's kind
know,
of
but
what makes
it's
it
so
fun.
infuriating. That's why I don't like six leg parlays. Like it makes me so mad where it's like, yes, I got this one, I got this one, I got this one. Well, this one went to hell, but I got this one, so I've lost everything.
I know you don't get lured by the big payout like
No, I don't.
like I do.
No,
I like parlays,
that's
but
why I'm
lose
betting on
90%.
6 different apps, Rach. God, like I can't handle the loss. I'm keeping everybody in business. I've got MGM, I've got Penn, I've got Caesar Sportsbook, I've got ESPN Bet, I've got DraftKings, Prize Picks, like spreading the wealth because I hate to be a loser.
Are the odds like I usually only bet on DraftKings, but are the odds like very similar between all of them, or do you? Okay.
Yeah. The only reason that I made the money that I made from the Super Bowl is because I bet $15 on the Philadelphia Eagles and ESPN Bet, and then I bet $5 on the Kansas City Chiefs in another app.
And then, like, weren't you in a state at the time that you couldn't bet too? Because I think I even put some bets down for you. I was like, well, how are you betting?
Literally, Prize Picks. I had to go on Prize Picks, and it was like, hey, do you think that, God, it was like, is Travis Kelce going to make a touchdown? And I was like, yeah, he'll do that. Didn't make it. And then it was like, is Jalen Hurts going to throw a touchdown? And I was like, absolutely. It's like, they don't even call it sports betting. They say that it's based on skills because it's either one or the other.
And you win a prize, not money.
And you win a prize, yeah. So it's like, yes, Jalen Hurts is going to win a touchdown, or no, he's not going to get a touchdown. Up, lost $3. Like that's how Prize Picks works. It's so infuriating, but it's a lot less stressful because it's almost like instantaneous, and you can see your progression. Because when I was betting on like yards by Saquon Barkley, it's like I bet that he was going to run like 16 receiving yards or something like that, and it was like, oh, I got 11 yards. Oh, I got 12 yards. I'm almost there. I didn't win. I don't think I won that one either. But I had like 16 different things going, but also like I bet $1 on everything because I was scared. I also
that's funny.
Withdrew all the money from all my apps because I just can't live this life anymore.
I know, I'm the same way. I'm so much happier when I'm not betting. I will have to put like a little bit in for the tournament though. I'll put like $100 or something, just to kind of spread that around and play.
Well, we get to like the Elite Eight, and then I'm going to start making some reckless decisions.
Well, I think I put $50 on Bama to make it to the Final Four, like preseason.
Okay.
So that was, I don't usually put money out there, but I'm like, I kind of feel like we've got a good squad this year. And the odds were like plus 800 or something. They were like crazy. So it was like, I'll just put like $50 and that'll give me something to root for all season. And I don't know, they look pretty damn good. I feel okay about that.
Listen, I have no problem with you betting money on Bama because they do look really good. Sears looks really good. Grant looks really good. Like, it's a good looking team.
I know.
Oh,
How do you
she's done
not love Grant Nelson too? We're
love
gonna wear mustaches. I think we're during the tournament. We've said this before. Like I want to get mustaches, like the little
Oh,
Grant
wow.
Nelson mustache.
I wonder if I've got any Stephen A. Smith mustaches left over.
Perfect. I'll wash
Oh,
my spray tan off if I'm going to be Grant Nelson, though.
gosh.
He's so pale, just
Oh,
like me.
Casper, the friendly ghost, making
Oh,
buckets.
oh, I love it.
That is too funny.
Well, I know there's a ton going on with like the NFL trade deadline. I can't even keep up with that shit. Like,
I
where's
can't.
Russell Wilson going to go? Is Chad Powers going to get drafted? Like, I don't know. Like
Like,
the movement just seems insane.
one day I'm going to ask somebody at ESPN, what is the cutoff age for playing football? I genuinely want to know, because like, if I hear that somebody like oh God, like if I heard that Matt Ryan was coming out of retirement to play for a team, it almost wouldn't shock me right now. So I feel like everybody is like doing this last ditch effort. It's a total carousel. It's like, oh, well, I'm going to go here. I'm going to go here. Like, thank God Cooper Kupp retired, because I was so tired of seeing that old thing like drag up and down the field. And now we're still talking about, oh, where's Aaron Darnold going to play? And I'm like, why doesn't he play in the backyard with his kids at home instead of playing on the, like, I just don't understand. What is the cutoff age? Everyone
And
needs to go home and sit down, like, and make room for like all of the rookies that have spent the last 4 years crushing it to
well, Sam
play.
Darnold got like a hella big contract up in
Yeah,
Seattle. Like, wasn't it like 110 million or something? I'm like,
something
huh?
absolutely
Sam
ridiculous.
Darnold? Really?
Right? Like, for what? Wasn't he just somebody's backup quarterback? Like, I don't understand
Yes.
this, you know? And then like you've got, which I absolutely love this. Myles Garrett just got one of the highest paid contracts for a non-quarterback player, which I think is great because he absolutely deserves it. But everyone is not talking about that. They're talking about where Travis is going to go. Where guess what? Travis is going to go wherever Taylor says he can go. So like, let's just go ahead and put that to bed. I just like don't. I like also like, what is the cutoff age? I just need to understand how much longer are
Also,
these dudes going to play?
speaking of people who should just go sit on a couch, Russell Wilson, why are
Yeah,
we still talking about him?
I don't,
Is
don't
Sierra
know.
gonna is Sierra
Don't
gonna
know.
want to move to Cleveland? Do you
No.
think he should go sit on the damn couch and let her make the money? Because she has a hell of a lot more talent than him.
There are a lot of guys that would absolutely kill to be a stay-at-home dad. I know a lot of dudes that would kill to be a stay-at-home dad. Like, they should just take that win or that L, however you see it, but take it.
Yeah. Just
Like,
don't move to Cleveland if you don't have to.
move to
I,
Cleveland.
like retire with some kind of pride left in your tank.
That's what I'm saying. That's why everyone's like, "Oh, we're watching the wires. We're watching." Someone was like, "I'm sitting here refreshing my feed every 3 seconds to see where Aaron Rodgers is going to land," and I'm like, "Who cares? Who cares where he lands? Wherever he goes, he's not going to play well. Like, he's an old broken man, just like poor Tiger Woods is an old broken man."
Oh, I know.
I feel bad for him.
I feel bad
How are
for
we
him
supposed
too.
to watch TGL golf now?
I mean, this is what happens when you get old. You get injuries like when you're working out at your house.
I feel like I break a rib every time I yawn in the morning.
I mean, I feel like I go to bed healthy and I wake up in the morning and I'm injured. I'm like, did I get a sleep injury? Like I got hurt while I was sleeping? What the hell?
Yep,
Like
yep, that's exactly what
I can't move my back because I went to sleep. Great.
happened. That's exactly what happens. So I don't know. We'll see. But and I love all of that. So there's all of this change going around. But we got half a concussed Tua that's still down in Miami playing for crackhead McDaniel, and we're just like, oh yeah, business as usual. Everything is fine. Like, what is happening?
Maybe they'll bring in Russell Wilson. That's another like
God, like
rumor.
literally
Like
the last thing we need is like two like crippled light skinned people playing in Miami.
that's what
Like,
Mike wants, right? He probably thinks that's awesome. He's gonna Frankenstein them together.
oh my God, Mike McDaniel probably like, oh, this is cool because this is totally going to take the attention off of me.
I need to have another baby to bring it into the press conference.
Like, if I bring all these terrible players to Miami, everyone's going to stop asking about me, right?
Yeah.
If they're not asking about me, they're going to be nice to me, right? Because this just happened to me.
Hey, what do you think about Shador and not wanting to participate in the combine? And he's had a couple conversations and he's like, I really don't care what they think of me. They have my tape. Like he's just playing it off like I don't give a shit. Like I'm going to be the best quarterback ever. They should see that. Arrogant or smart?
I think that I think it's arrogant. I think it's arrogant only because I tend to focus on what is creating a good culture for a team. I think I don't know what his deal is. It's like him and Travis Hunter were like two sides of a great coin. They were shake and bake. But like Travis Hunter is humble, he gives back, he's a great athlete. Like Shador is a great athlete, but not humble. He's very arrogant. Like he thinks his shit don't stink. Like I just don't understand where he thinks where in the league is he going to fit? Where does he think that that's going to be acceptable? Where does he think that that's going to be encouraged and like adored? I don't understand. Like I don't know. He's probably going to get picked up by like the Giants because of that, but I don't know. I would almost think that he knew how to play this game better. And I say this game isn't like how to package yourself, because that's like literally the whole point of the combine. It's to shop yourself to all 32 teams and see where you're going to end up. But like you look like an asshole in comparison to all these other players that are actually really trying. And to be quite honest, you weren't that great at Colorado. So I think that if you had this amazing record, if your team had gone to the national championship, if you had won the Heisman, then maybe we'd be like, oh yeah, we completely understand. He's got to save his body and but it's not like that at all. It's like, and I just don't understand, like, where do you think you're going to go with that attitude, with that talent?
I brought up, is it smart? Only because I think it's smart only from the perspective of you don't want to go to the shittiest team out there. Right? So
Yeah,
if the first five teams that need quarterbacks pass him by and pick up somebody else because of his attitude, and he
yeah,
gets to go to a team where maybe he gets to sit behind somebody and learn for a year or two, or a
yeah.
team that is maybe mid-pack and has some offensive talent and some receivers that can catch the ball, like they're not the worst team in the league.
Mm-hmm.
What I struggle with him is what is he going to do when he doesn't play for his dad? Because he's never not played for his dad. Like somebody there that's always pumping him up and giving him all the opportunity and really building a team around him. Like it's not going to be that way in the pros.
Yeah,
He's
but
just
like also
another
like
guy.
yeah, but also like point out to me a program where there is a coach that's not going to coddle him and they're not going to. I feel like there are a lot of teams that where the front office was driven by a former quarterback, cough cough the Jets, and cough cough the New England Patriots back in the Tom Brady era. I just feel like there's so much of that, but the eras of the Sean Paytons, the eras of the Bill Belichick's, that's gone. So I don't see a lot of coaches that are going to be like, oh, I'm not putting up with this. Because, like, that's kind of an era that has passed. So it's going to be really interesting. But again, at the same time, like, there are a lot of players, especially in that position, because I always feel like there's a little bit of a quarterback curse, especially when you go in the first round, where these guys get picked up by teams and they don't do that great. But there are also some teams like Joe Burrow did really good I mean, it took him a while to get there, but he did pretty good his rookie year. So he could be like one of those players, but also who is he going to sit behind where he's going to be developed and not have an attitude?
No, he's going to have an attitude whether he starts or he sits behind somebody, right? I mean, that's just how he is he's never
Mm-hmm.
been told no, he's never been
Yeah.
told you're not the best. I think I would worry about him mentally being the first. I don't think he'll be. I think Cam Ward's going to be the first round draft pick.
Yeah.
That goes.
It
He goes
sucks,
first as a
but
quarterback.
yeah.
But
The first
I
round quarterback, it's kind of a curse. Like, I don't. I hate to see a good player. I'm not gonna lie. I hate to see a good player go first in the draft. I really do. Look at poor Bryce. Look at poor Bryce. The front office, the respect, the disrespect against Bryce in Charlotte and in Carolina was so loud. I could not handle it. I could not. They really tried to blame the entire like mediocrity of that season on that poor guy. I don't know. I don't know. I
That'll
don't
be
know.
interesting. I'm not trying to track waiver wire, but it's like the only thing that's showing up on my social media right now. And I'm like, cool. Don't know. Don't know. That's a lot of money. I did hear that Dak and CD were trying to like work on
Oh, I forgot about the
restructuring their
Cowboys.
deal, restructuring their deal so they can get some more talent. I'm like, oh, good. No shit. We saw that
Great,
coming,
great,
right?
great year to be in the pharmaceutical industry if you're into pushing depression meds. Just go after every single Cowboy fan in America.
Right. Oh my gosh, it's crazy. Well, anything else, Russ? We'll see what treat he has for us today.
All right, awesome.
Hello, ladies.
I'm
Hello.
How are we today?
living
It's
the
We're
a
good.
dream.
it's a beautiful spring day here in Charlotte. It's actually almost 80 degrees.
Oh
Oh
Can you
wow.
my
believe it?
gosh.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Blazing here. The pollen is thick in the air. It is springtime in the
Yeah,
Carolinas for sure. Yeah. If you had allergies, this is not the place you want to be, but
yeah.
I generally don't, so I'm happy. And by the way, I'm drinking a nice you can't really see that because of my background. Drinking a nice Pinot Noir this afternoon, early evening from Sainsbury. I
Oh,
know
I
that's
love
a
that
favorite of
place.
yours, Rachel. Yeah.
It is. Well, it's better than my airplane champagne that I'm drinking.
Oh
Airplane champagne. Oh, ugh,
Yeah,
yeah.
not so great. Not,
go back and listen to the intro because it's got a good
okay.
explanation.
Okay, gotcha. I can't wait. I can't wait to hear about it. But hey, it's been a while since we've been together, so I missed you guys.
I know it's
Let's keep it going. Let's keep it going.
yeah.
So I have an interesting twist. So you know that I've been kind of since football season ended, I've been kind of like trying to figure out what I do for a weather bet in the football off season because I love those football weather bets, bad weather, under bets, or as we saw last season, in college football in particular, a northern team going to a hot, humid southern location doesn't tend to play as well. And I think it goes the other way around as well. I think we saw like I forget who it was went to West Point when it was going to be like freezing and crappy and whatever, and they underperformed, lost big. So I've been trying to figure out, okay, how can I replicate the tremendous success I had with those football weather bets. And I think I found a way. I think I found a way. And it has something to do with the graphic that's up behind me. So I'll give you a hint. This is baseball related. Baseball related. So what do you think might cause um, a baseball score to be higher than expected in a particular game?
Altitude.
Well, no, because that's factored in. So they're playing in
Oh,
if they're playing at the Colorado Rockies, we expect there to be more what? You're
Home
kind of
runs. Yeah.
directionally. So it has something to do with home runs. It has something to do with home runs,
So
but
the
that's not exactly right.
heat, right? So is it heat and the air's thinner when there's less
Ooh.
humidity? I'm trying to geek out here.
No,
I didn't.
I have to commend you on your, atmospheric kind of calculation, whatever. But it's no, you are wrong. It's not that. So let me give you a hint. It has something to do with baseball rule 1.04. It's kind of cut off in my graphic, but it's see that green kind of thing up there? It's baseball rule 1.04. I bet you didn't know this baseball rule existed. I didn't know before I started doing this in-depth research. So what baseball rule, so Major League Baseball has this enormous rule book on all of the, like if you're an if you're an umpire in Major League Baseball, I think you got to be a pretty smart dude just to begin with, because the rule book is, granted, football's is big, baseball's is much bigger. So this is Rule 104. It is desirable. So I guess it's more of a like guideline than a rule, but it says it is desirable that the line from home base through the pitcher's plate, which is the rubber, pitcher's rubber, to second base shall run east to northeast.
So sunlight in the batter's eyes. A factor.
Oh, boom, boom, boom. So the reason for Rule 104 is, understand, when baseball started, no night games because they didn't have lights, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if we're in the northern hemisphere, so when the sun starts to set in the northern hemisphere, it's low in the southwest sky. So think about it. If you're a batter and you get the sun setting over the pitcher's head, basically, that's going to cause some problems. And that's the reason for that rule. Now, go back to what Rachel said about home runs. Where do you generally see more home runs? When do you generally see more home runs being hit on a ball field in a game? Why would the direction No, why would the direction of the field matter? What
I,
helps what if you're a batter, what helps that ball get out of the ballpark? I was actually at Fenway Park, and this was this
I
phenomenon. I observed it in action
I
last
think
last
you're just
season.
going to have to tell us.
I you guys some
we we don't
when the
like baseball.
oh you
Okay.
when the wind is blowing out. Have you heard of that kind of thing? If the wind is blowing out to the outfield, you hit a ball up in the air, it's going to carry further.
Yeah.
Am I right? More home runs are likely when the wind is blowing at the batter's back, so to
What
speak.
does it have to do with the sun, Lou?
Well,
And how are you going to bet on this?
okay.
You're going to know the direction of the wind?
I can
I,
I clearly you, you're two very intelligent ladies. So it's clearly my fault for not explaining this
We've
properly.
got two
So,
really smart girls with very serious ADD. So like, you don't understand the riddle anymore.
get to the fucking point. Okay, I get it. I get it. So the reason this matters is, so when the wind is blowing out to center field, left field, right field, whatever, it's a hitter's win. You're gonna get you should get more home runs. You should get a higher score. So the direction of the ball field matters, because if most ball fields are oriented east northeast, then you want to look for a strong west southwest wind, which would which would have it pointing out toward the outfield. It would be a hitter's wind.
how are you going to know that, though?
You got to check the forecast.
You don't even know, like, can you tell which direction the wind's going to blow at what time?
That's
That's your
it's
job?
actually it's
I'm like,
actually so it's actually a lot easier, a lot more predictable on wind speed and direction than it is on, will it snow at this particular time in a game? Will we be getting these, rain, torrential rain showers, etc. Yeah,
okay.
wind is this should be a much more, a reliable indicator. Now, the reason I have this graphic up is that, as you can see, I'll move around a little bit. Someone actually went on Google Maps and plotted from home base to second base the direction of the field. So for each one of those lines, it's the way the field is oriented, on a compass, basically. You can find I had to go to the AI to get that information, but
Is
it's
this
but it's out there. And as you can see, not all of them point, you could, that green line is the rule 104 line. That is east northeast. But as you can see, they kind of rotate around. So what I'm working on is this kind of big spreadsheet that shows you where the field is oriented, and then wind direction and speed for that day. And it will just whoop, throw it all in, and it will be able to say, this is a target game, this is a target game. So you like it?
I like that. I like that it's going to be actionable. So I
It's
was like,
well,
how are we going to have action?
it is unbelievably actionable. And I think, maybe, I don't know, I did a little research online. I don't think anybody else has thought of this. This could be like original material. Our listeners could be the first ones getting this insight. Now, you can have this insight. Putting it in action is a little more difficult than a football game where you're like, okay, I got what, 16 games this week. I'm trying to match up weather. That I'm just doing without spreadsheets, obviously. This one, a little more technicalities to it, which I love. So yeah,
You
I'm
better go
excited.
ahead and get that patented because you know how our friends up in Bristol like to steal our ideas. So
Fuck yeah, that's right. I'm waiting for that. So I'm on that patent, and I'm going to be testing it in I want to say preseason, but what do they call preseason in baseball? It's escaping
Spring
me.
training.
Spring training. I've had too
Yeah,
I've had too many too many sips
clearly.
clearly at this point. So yes, I'm going to be testing it in spring training. Now I got to figure out. So these are Major League Baseball stadiums. I got that down. Orientation. Getting the orientation of minor league baseball stadiums, that's a different matter. So I'm going to have to be a little selective on that. I think I might begin with, okay, where's the wind blowing hardest? Does that match up with it? I don't know. TBD on that. I'll report back on that little project next week. I have
okay,
one last thing I will leave you with, and that is my wager of the week. Has nothing to do with weather because it's on a basketball. It's based on basketball. The weather inside the basketball arena should be, fair to partly cloudy with low relative humidity. I am picking, and they are the underdog. I am picking the Maine Black Bears to win the America East Conference tournament this coming weekend. That game is on Saturday. I'm picking them to win at plus 200. So I didn't exactly bet the house. I bet my, kind of outhouse, basically. So, but
okay.
we'll see. So fingers crossed. My main black bears come through for me. We'll see.
We're going to do a bracket
Uh,
challenge, the three of us.
Okay.
Oh,
We're
I
going to
like
see
that.
we're going to see who wins. We're going to see who can wager beat you.
I I'm thinking that if I was to lay odds on that, I'm going to put Marissa at minus, like 80, Rachel at minus 70, and me at a plus 145, meaning I'm the underdog in
Yeah.
that arena. I put Rachel just a little bit ahead of you, Marissa. I apologize if you're offended by
No,
that.
she's definitely more well versed than I am. I
Okay,
my
okay.
ADD is too bad. Like I was trying to watch the scores of like six different games that are happening in the middle of the day, and I was like, well,
Out,
somebody won.
out. There is some interesting on DraftKings. There are some interesting, like who's going to win the conference bets. Although like,
Mhm.
they didn't have ACC and they didn't have SEC in those conference bets, but who will get to the Final Four? Who
Yeah.
will win it overall? Interesting bets there. I want to say Duke, due to my main dude on Duke. I want to say Duke is the odds-on favorite to win the
Hmm.
NCAA tournament. Not by much, but hey, great win. Alabama beating Auburn
Yeah.
last weekend, huh? That was
Uh,
one exciting
I
game.
I was in the lodge at in Beaver Creek with my youngest, and we were going crazy. I didn't ski because I'd watched the game.
Well, you
We were going nuts.
Marissa, I don't know about you, but I would love to have been in the lodge at Beaver Creek, sipping on a beverage, watching the game. But I don't know, my checkbook just won't allow that. I think that's Rachel just rich shaming us
Yeah,
or poor
no, no,
shaming
no,
us.
no. It was like a cafeteria, let's be honest. We were like the only people in there watching this small
That's
screen. We found
fine.
two other fans who were jumping and screaming with us, so
That's awesome.
it
That's
was
awesome.
awesome.
That's awesome.
I think
That's
I
awesome.
would have rather been like in Coleman Coliseum, but to each his own.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly, exactly. Well, ladies, great catching up, and look forward to updating you on my, wind baseball, kind of, I don't know, weather wager win program next week. So
All right, get to work.
Yeah.
I'm on it. I'm on it. Okay, take
All
care.
right,
Have a good weekend.
cheers. All right, thanks everyone for listening. We'll be back at you next week. Cheers.